Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Heartline. Today I'm going to be ranking my top 10 overall roller coasters. So let's get into it. Also, one quick note before we begin. I just wanted to say that this list is just my personal, unfiltered opinion. So this list is probably going to look quite a bit different than yours, and there are several hot takes on this list, but this is just what I think, and I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks. Off this list, we have my number 10 roller coaster, and this one is Cannibal at Lagoon. This ride barely edged out the number 11 coaster, which I'm just going to say it's Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. But Cannibal, I just like it a tiny bit more, and it was able to make it into my top 10. This roller coaster has one of the most intimidating first drops I've ever seen in my life. This ride just has such a grand and menacing presence that you can feel anywhere nearby. The first drop on this roller coaster is over 200 feet and it goes 160 degrees. This ride also has 4 great inversions, all with only a lap bar. It's very smooth, has some great forces, and amazing hang time. Also, the elevator lift on this ride is just such a fun touch, and I really like it. But not quite as much as I like this next number 9 coaster. And that roller coaster is also the first roller coaster of many from Cedar Point to make it onto this list, and that ride is Maverick. Maverick is much smaller than Cannibal, but just as intense. The first drop on Maverick is a lot shorter than Cannibal's first drop, but has some great airtime. And actually, this ride has several elite airtime moments, as well as 2 fun inversions, and a very punchy second launch. The second half of this ride also has 2 incredible stingle dive elements that hit you with incredible lateral forces these are 2 of the most fun elements at Cedar Point, and that is saying something, because this park has quite a lot. This ride, however, with all the things it does have, was not enough to beat out the number 8 coaster, which also comes from this same park. And that number 8 roller coaster is Siren's Curse, also at Cedar Point. Now, I know it's a little controversial to put this above Maverick, but just hear me out. There's worse things to come. So, first of all, this ride is unbelievably smooth. I don't think I knew that it was possible for a roller coaster to be this comfortable until I rode it. But it doesn't even feel like you're on a track. You're just gliding through the air. It's amazing. Also, the tilt element does add quite a bit to the ride, although it wasn't quite as fun as I was expecting. It is still a great element and provides a nice off-ride photo opportunity as well. This ride also has some great forces and great pacing. And the layout of this coaster features several nice airtime moments and moments of positive G. And also, the theming that Cedar Point put into this ride really adds a lot, especially the onboard audio, which I love. This ride definitely exceeded my expectations, and all these factors combined let me put it just a tiny bit above Maverick, but not quite enough to edge out the number 7 roller coaster. At the number 7 spot, we have Nighthawk at Carowinds. Wait, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Stay out. I'll explain it. Just give me a second. So, out of all of the roller coasters I've been on, I don't think I've ever been more surprised by how much I enjoyed a ride than I was by Nighthawk. Because when I went to Carowinds for the first time, I had heard from many different people that this was one of the worst roller coasters they'd ever experienced before. And because of that, I was so shocked when I rode it at how fun it was that it immediately climbed my rankings rapidly. This is just such a fun ride. I don't understand how anyone could hate it. It begins with this amazing turn upside down over the midway where you just get to stare at the people below you before diving through a great layout with some nice terrain and trees and water below you. And it has an amazing vertical loop which in my opinion is one of the best coaster elements ever. And it just swoops around the park and is so much fun. I don't understand how anyone could ever hate it, except for its operations. I could definitely see why someone would hate the operations, but that's about it. I was very sad this ride closed, and I will unfortunately never get to ride another Vekoma Flying Dutchman, but it will live forever in my heart. But it was not quite enough to beat out this number 6 coaster, which is one you'd expect to see in a lot more top 10 rankings. And at the number 6 spot is Jurassic World VelociCoaster at Universal Islands of Adventure. Now, unfortunately, I don't remember this ride quite as much as I want to because I only rode it twice and I have not been to Universal for several years. But what I do remember of it was that this was an absolutely beautiful, beautiful masterpiece. This ride has two great inversions and some awesome theming, and two very distinct halves. The first half is a very well themed, almost spaghetti bowl layout with two inversions and some nice airtime and whippy transitions. While the second layout has a great top hat next to the water, a zero G stall, several Outer Bank airtime moments, and the legendary Mosasaurus roll over the water. All of these combine to just make a great, enjoyable roller coaster, and I definitely understand why this is so many people's favorite ride. I didn't like it quite as much as some people did, but it was still enough to get it into the number 6 position, which is pretty good in my opinion. And kicking off the top 5, we have Fury 325 at Carowinds, the first Giga coaster in this top 10 ranking. Now, this is a very special roller coaster for several reasons. It probably has the most spectacular layout of any Giga coaster, and it rips through it with so much speed. This ride was built to perfection to interact with the front gate of the park, and I love roller coasters that do that. It goes over and under the entrance pathway and just manages to fit in so many good elements at such a high speed. I don't know how they did it, but it is great. You can find pretty much anything you want on this ride. There is high up elements, there are low to the ground elements, there is positive G's, there's airtime, it is smooth, it is comfortable, and it has a amazing first drop, and you get a great view of the Charlotte area. This is just such a fun ride. I feel like I could ride it over and over again and never get tired of it. And you probably could do that, considering that, at least when I was there, this had one of the most efficient ride crews I've ever seen working a roller coaster before. They were very fast and friendly, so definitely shout out to them. They did great and made this ride even better. And at the number 4 spot is the first and only wooden roller coaster on this list, and that is the Voyage at Holiday World. Now, this ride certainly lives up to its name, as it feels like you're going to be riding this coaster forever, because that is about how long the ride lasts. I have no idea how Holiday World managed to make this ride so long and hold its speed so well with only one lift hill. I think it must have something to do with the terrain, but it rips through this course. It does not slow down, and it is just great. It is jam packed with airtime, all the airtime you could want, and somehow it is still a very smooth wooden coaster, especially for its age. And it also has the old classic PTC trains, which I quite like, although I know a lot of people don't. And this ride also has a beautiful setting in the hills and the trees, and is definitely one of the best wooden roller coasters ever built. And I would absolutely recommend it to anyone that visits Holiday World. For the number 3 spot, we are going back to Cedar Point, and this time it is for Steel Vengeance. Now, I have a long and complicated history with this roller coaster, starting with the first time I rode it, where we had a lot of issues with the lockers, and after several hours of waiting and struggling to get on the ride, we finally got to ride it, and it absolutely blew me away in every way possible. I did not know how this ride could be so smooth. This is another butter smooth roller coaster, and it has, like, if you have not been on this coaster before, I don't think it's possible to even imagine that a ride could have as much airtime as this roller coaster does. But you are out of your seat for the entire very long ride. Even the inversions send you flying out of your seat. This was the first RMC roller coaster I ever rode, so I did not know what to expect, but now I do, because this definitely sets the bar high. It has butter smooth track, amazing layout, amazing airtime, and no matter what anyone says, it will always be one of the greatest roller coasters ever built. And at the number 2 spot is a roller coaster that was my favorite for a long time, and it is Pantherian at King's Dominion. This is another Giga coaster, although it is very different from every other Giga. This ride focuses almost exclusively on positive Gs and intense side-to-side transitions, and it does those two things to perfection. The first turn on this roller coaster pulls so much force, you are pretty likely to pass out if you're not prepared, but that is just kind of the experience, and I think it's pretty fun. And the rest of this layout will send you flying from side to side and is such an adrenaline rush that is unmatched by every roller coaster except for one, which we'll get to in a second. This is such a great ride experience. I have not gotten to ride it since it was rethemed, although I will get to do that this summer, which I'm very excited for because I have been looking forward to riding this ride again ever since I was at King's Dominion last. And I think that this absolutely deserves to be recognized as one of the best coasters ever built. But in my opinion, there is one coaster that I like a little bit more and dethroned it for me, and that ride is Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point. Oh boy, man. For a long time, I was concerned that I would never get to ride this roller coaster after it was closed for almost all of 2024. But this year, I was finally able to ride it, and it absolutely delivered. This ride might not have the craziest layout, it might not have the longest track with the most elements, but the elements it does have are some of the greatest elements ever created, and this is just such an adrenaline rush. There is nothing else like it that I have ridden. You get so much speed on this swing launch, and I had never gotten to ride the original Top Thrill Dragster, so I had never been on a 400-foot roller coaster before, and the experience of just going over this top hat with all the airtime you get is breathtaking. The view of Cedar Point from on top of this ride is something special, and I'm so glad I got to finally ride this, and I am also very glad that you guys watched this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I would love to see your opinions on this ranking in the comments. I'm probably going to have more detailed reviews on this coasters in the future, but overall, yeah, I think that is all I have to say for now, so thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.